Han Li's gaze rested on the gray talisman for a moment, and he discovered that the runes on it were drastically different from normal runes, but the patterns on the gray cloth and the gray veil were rather similar. After some contemplation, he cast an incantation seal onto the talisman, and a layer of gray light instantly appeared over its surface to repel the incantation seal. Hanli raised an eyebrow as a burst of golden light that was giving off faint, time law power fluctuations emerged from his hand. Yet that was also repelled upon making contact with the gray talisman. His expression remained unchanged, and this time he channeled the baleful chi in his body before attempting to make contact with the gray talisman again. This time, the gray light on the talisman flashed momentarily before fading away, and it didn't reject the baleful chi. Han Li was very encouraged to see this, and he immediately began injecting baleful chi into the talisman. The seal within the talisman wasn't actually all that complex, and he was quickly able to undo it. Around 15 minutes later, the gray talisman flew off the black jade box on its own, following which the box sprang open to reveal a crimson mask inside. Han Li picked up the mask, and a surprised look appeared on his face. This was a crimson mask assigned to the reincarnation disciples of the Reincarnation Palace. It was quite similar in appearance to his dragon mask, and the words Dragon 4 were inscribed upon it. Dragon 4, could it be that this gray immortal was from the Reincarnation Palace? Hanli murmured to himself. The Reincarnation Palace mask given to him by Worm 3 bore the words Dragon 5. Hanli didn't think much of this as he stowed both the mask and the jade box away, then turned his attention back to the body of the gray immortal. Right at this moment, Mo Guang's voice suddenly rang out in his mind. Looks like we're in luck, fellow Taoist Han. This is a very well-preserved gray immortal body, and this gray immortal was most likely at the high zenith stage back when they were alive. So what? No matter how powerful they were, they're nothing but a corpse now. Why do you sound so excited, fellow Taoist Mo Guang? Han Li asked. Back when I was with Ma Liang, I came across a scripture in a set of ruins that contained some information pertaining to gray immortals. That scripture contained a secret technique that can be used to refine the body of a gray immortal into an avatar. After obtaining this scripture, Ma Liang had always wanted to find a gray immortal body, but wasn't able to do so. I certainly wasn't expecting to find one here, Mo Guang explained. Is that right? Han Li was quite intrigued to hear this. Back in the Infernal Frost Immortal Manor, he had witnessed just how powerful the High Zenith Stage Mo Yu was, and if he could come into possession of a High Zenith Stage Gray Immortal Avatar, then he would stand a much better chance against the gold-devouring Immortal. I wouldn't dare to lie to you, fellow Taoist Han. Gray Immortals are different from normal cultivators in that following their demise, the energy in their bodies won't quickly dissipate. Instead, most of it remains in their body, thereby making it possible to refine their bodies into avatars. You're truly in luck, fellow Taoist Han. If you can successfully refine this body into an avatar, then you'll be able to use it against that gold-devouring immortal, Mo Guang said. Show me the refinement method, Han Li requested. Mo Guang immediately emerged from the shadow beneath his feet, following which Han Li handed a white jade slip to him, and Mo Guang accepted the jade slip, then made a copy of the refinement method before handing it back to Han Li. After briefly inspecting the refinement method in the jade slip, Han Li's brows began to furrow slightly. The refinement method was quite different from normal avatar refinement methods, and many prerequisites had to be satisfied, one of which was that the user had to possess tremendous baleful chi. During the refinement process, the user had to inject their baleful chi into several important points in the Gray Immortal's body in order to be able to control it. Secondly, the user had to split their own soul using a special secret technique, then use another secret technique to fuse their baleful chi and a split portion of their soul, converting it into a baleful soul that could possess the Gray Immortal's body. Only with both conditions met could one ensure complete control over the avatar. The first condition is easy to meet, but the second condition, the one that requires splitting one's soul before creating a baleful soul, is that detrimental to the user in any way? Han Li asked. There will inevitably be some detrimental effects that arise from splitting one's soul, and following the conversion into a baleful soul, it'll regularly transmit negative emotions of violence and bloodlust into the user's mind. However, that's only to be expected. The energy in a Grey Immortal's body is directly contrary to that of a cultivator, so the two will conflict with each other. If a normal soul were to enter a Grey Immortal's body, it would quickly be destroyed. Only after a conversion into a baleful soul would it be able to reside long-term in a Grey Immortal's body. Mo Guang replied. The excitement in Hanli's heart slowly faded upon hearing this. If he could refine this Grey Immortal body into an avatar at only a minor cost, then he would be happy to pursue this option. But not only was this soul-splitting technique going to be very harmful to his soul, it would also affect him on an emotional level, and those consequences were simply unacceptably severe. If you feel like the detrimental effects are too much, there's actually another solution, Mo Guang suddenly said. What is it? Han Li asked. It's very simple. You can allow me to enter the Grey Immortal's body in the place of your split soul, Mo Guang replied. Han Li was very surprised to hear this. I'm a heavenly devilish monarch, Mo Guang continued. I possess no form or substance, which makes me very similar to a soul. On top of that, I possess a very high level of natural resistance to the energy in the bodies of Grey Immortals, so I should be able to enter the body just fine. Han Li was silent for a moment upon hearing this, then asked, Fellow Taoist Mo Guang, how long has it been since we signed our contract back in the spirit realm? I'm always in a state of slumber, so I don't have much of a concept of the passage of time, but it should have been at least 10,000 years by now. Why do you ask, fellow Daoist Han? Mo Guang asked. Given how many years we've been together, I'm sure you're very familiar with my personality, and I'm sure you would have known that I wouldn't have agreed to using the soul-splitting technique. From the very beginning, your plan was to possess this body yourself, right? Han Li asked. Mo Guang's expression stiffened slightly upon hearing this, following which a wry smile appeared on his face as he sighed. Looks like I can't hide anything from you. My intention was indeed to possess this Grey Immortal body myself, but I don't harbor any ill will toward you. All I want is to be able to help you in the upcoming battle against the Gold-Devouring Immortal. If you're killed by the Gold-Devouring Immortal, I'll also be in a terrible situation. That's the extent of your intentions? Han Li asked as he raised an eyebrow. Of course, I also want to attain more power for myself. You've already reached the late Golden Immortal stage, while Jin Tong and Taoist Chai have both reached the Golden Immortal stage as well, leaving me as the only one still stuck at the True Immortal stage. And it's not a good feeling to be left behind like this. Mo Guang sighed with a hint of dejection on his face. Han Li remained silent as he stared at Mo Guang with a contemplative look in his eyes. Moments later, he suddenly raised a hand to release a burst of azure light that enveloped the Grey Immortal's body. Strands of translucent azure light emerged before wrapping themselves around the body, quickly forming a cocoon around it. As a result, the immense baleful qi being released by the body was sealed in and unable to spread through the surrounding area. We'll discuss this matter some other time, Han Li said as he stowed the cocoon away. Mo Guang nodded in response, then vanished into Han Li's shadow again. After that, Han Li returned to the giant rat carcass with slightly furrowed brows. The giant rat carcass contained immense spiritual power, but as one of the sources of baleful qi in this place, it also contained tremendous baleful qi, so it was definitely inedible to Jin Tong and Xiao Bai. However, there was a solution to this. After some contemplation, Han Li swept a sleeve through the air to summon a stack of array plates and array flags, then set them up near the rat carcass. A day and a night later, a gourd-shaped array had taken shape around the carcass, and within the array were 4 black rings the size of round tables. The lines in the array were particularly concentrated near these rings, indicating that they were the 4 most important points in the array. Han Li began to chant an incantation while making a hand seal, and specks of black spiritual light emerged all over the gourd-shaped array. In particular, 4 pillars of black light had erupted out of the 4 rings, and they were swaying back and forth like the tentacles of a living creature. All of a sudden, Han Li switched to a different hand seal and the four pillars of black light instantly shot into the giant rat's carcass in unison. The immense baleful chi surging out of the carcass instantly subsided, following which countless black runes abruptly appeared within it. Immediately thereafter, a dull thump rang out, and the baleful chi flowing out of the giant rat carcass became even denser, and the rate of outflow had also sped up by several fold. Countless waves of incredibly dense baleful chi were spreading through the surrounding area, plunging the bottom of the ravine into complete darkness, and Han Li was quite pleased to see this. This array was something that he had created on the spot using several other different arrays as a foundation, and he wasn't sure if it was going to work, but thankfully it was working exactly as planned. Han Li began to make a rapid string of hand seals to operate the array, but right at this moment, the giant rat carcass abruptly shuddered, following which a string of loud cracks began to ring out. At the same time, two specks of green light emerged within its eye sockets, and they resembled a pair of eyes that were directed at Han Li. Han Li immediately felt as if he had been plunged into a glacial pit at the sight of its scrutiny, and his back instantly became drenched in cold sweat. If the giant rat carcass had somehow sprung back to life, then he was in an enormous amount of danger. With that in mind, he hurriedly sprang back in retreat as a streak of azure light. Almost at the exact same moment, the giant rat carcass opened its mouth to release a green shadow that hurtled directly toward Han Li. The green shadow was moving far faster than Han Li, and it reached him in the blink of an eye before attempting to pierce into his body. Right at this moment, countless arcs of bright golden lightning suddenly emerged over Han Li's body amid a rumbling thunderclap, and they rapidly converged to form a single thick bolt of light to oppose the green shadow.